All right, Gavin here with the 1 minute. This is vlog episode number 2, right? And if you haven't watched number 1, please go back. I'll have a link in the description. Go back and watch that. Kind of explains what I'm doing. I recommend watching these in order. You don't have to. If you just jump in right now, it's fine. But I explain a little bit about what the 1 minute is. And today, the title of vlog number 1 was How to Live from Oneness. And that's really what the 1 minute is about, right? I'll do that through podcasts. I'll do it through videos, have some other things, have some inspiring movies I'm going to do. And, you know, I've always been on this, not always, but most of my adult life, this kind of spiritual pursuit that I just know that I was missing something, that it had to be simpler, easier, better. Like life shouldn't be this hard. There shouldn't be all these ups and downs, right? You know, kind of my judgment, my perception on it. Yet I've really, worked towards healing my mind and, discovering answers and looking at, what's really going on. Coming from the point of miracles and illusions and, oneness ultimately. So I know my purpose is to discuss and teach oneness. And what I want to do on this vlog number 2 today is really go down, deep into what oneness is, but more importantly, like, what does it look like? Like, what's the pull? What's the reason you would want to live your life from oneness? Why is this important? And ultimately, I'm going to share my experiences on this vlog. And what I realized is that through my life, I was, falling for the perception, what I was taught from society, like everybody is, there's no judgment around that like this is what matters, whether it be like school or jobs or money, or, there's a whole long list of things. And we make everything about those things thinking, like erroneously thinking that is what's going to make us happy. That's what's going to like solve the problems that we feel, that's what's going to make us feel safe, right? And it is a hollow lie, all those things, right? And then the next question, I had, and that you probably have, is like, okay, well, if that's not what it's about, then, what is it about? How do we do that, Gavin? I have bills. That's what I always said. It's like, yeah, I've got a family. I've got these responsibilities. I have bills. Like, I like to, have food and eat and feel like stay alive, right? So believe me, I'm going to be sharing stories along this journey. And that's what this is together, is a journey on like what I've done to start experiencing oneness, right? And my dog Harper's back here. You get to see her on camera today. So let's talk oneness. What usually happens with oneness is people say, some kind of like spiritual term, like, oh, that's what separation is, or that we're all one, or that, like we're all connected, that everything is like divine and like created as like this one mind, right? And all those things, what I would say are accurate, but I feel like kind of our I'll just call it our normal taught mind, right? Not our Christ mind, but like our normal taught mind doesn't understand what that looks like. It's like, hey, we're in these bodies. We have been taught like this is what it looks like to live in these bodies. And so this is what we must do. And so we go do that. And then we wonder why like it never seems to bring joy, or it's never enough, or we don't feel abundant. And we just get like glimpses of it. We just get little pieces of it. And then it's like, gosh, like it just doesn't seem to be going the way that I want. And if it just went the way that I want, then I'd be happy. And if I could, see this person over here, they have all this money, they have all this success, they have this fame. Like if I was them, I would be happy. And kind of the secret is if you knew that person, that famous person, that money, they would feel the same way with you. There'd be some kind of lack in their life of like, whether it's relationship or meaning or purpose, or they might feel stuck, right? And ultimately, like, I have this wonderful life. I have a wonderful marriage, right? Which, that might be annoying to people. But I've been able to pay my bills and live this middle, income lifestyle, and great kids. Yet for so much of this, experience in this body, I've been like, oh my gosh, like I've been in fear. I've been down. I've worried that I'm going to lose it, or that I'm not doing enough in this world. And so it has eaten at me. And this is a big thing I want to share, that you probably, there's so many things you're probably grateful for. But when we're how our minds work and how we're taught is to think that there's always got to be more, and that we've got to do better, and the next goal, and the next thing, and the next level, right? And then somehow that's going to make us whole. That's going to bring the happiness. That's where we're going to see our purpose and our meaning. And it goes back again to the illusion. That's an illusion. That's a lie. It's a hollow lie, right? So how we can get around our mind around oneness and what it would look like. And I know it's an oxymoron to say, hey, it's the illusion of our bodies. How can we do oneness in a body? And that's, I feel like, a big part of why we're here, and our self-realization, and some would call it enlightenment, and what's possible for us. So let's take a look at what the simplistic way of oneness is. And I would ultimately just describe it as being extremely happy with no reason, nothing external, nothing needing to happen, doing nothing, right in this moment, absolute joy, okay? And take it a step further, up it a little bit, just bliss, blissed out in this moment, because there's this knowing that we're eternal, that we don't die, that we're not these bodies, that anything is possible, that we are all connected, right? And here's, when I started this video, it's why would you want to live from oneness? Ultimately, it's no fear. You have no fear. I mean, imagine going through your day where there's no fear, okay? And if there's no fear, what fills that void? What fills the thoughts? What fills the actions, the being, the feeling? It's love. You come from love in everything you do, right? And it's easy to describe to you coming from love, when things that you think are going to make you happy, or that you want to have happen. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling, love, and I'm feeling connected to people. And I have this sense of understanding who I am. But what happens, in your day when your boss says something mean to you, when a client says no, when the traffic makes you late to pick up your kids, when somebody cuts you off in traffic? I could go through a long list, but all of a sudden it's kind of that wasn't cool. I don't like that. That love is gone. And now there's these fearful thoughts. Oh, now what's going to happen? Where are my kids at? If this client didn't say yes, am I going to be able to pay my bills? And all these other anxious, fearful, not knowing thoughts, meaning not trusting thoughts, occur. And so we're back in the illusion. We're lost again. And ultimately, I want to experience this. And I know that there's, I'm wearing my Onement shirt, you and I are one, that there's no separation between you and I. So I'm doing these videos to share my journey and how I'm living that. And I fall down often, all throughout the day, of I have these reactions, or I have this disconnection, or I have disappointment, I have concerns, sometimes there's days that I'm scared shitless, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do, right? Yet, when I'm getting those glimpses of that truth, of that knowing, and I have learned, it was easy when it was the way what I wanted to have happened, but what's been cool lately is things may not be going to plan, and then I'm I'm still good. I'm still whole. And that person that may have upset me, or caused me to feel this way, I don't look at them the same. I don't look at them as the cause for my angst or fear or anxiety or worry. I see that it's a perception I have about what's real, about myself and who I am. And when I'm able to do that, and I'll be teaching you this, I'm able to dissolve that illusion. I'm able to, like what Course in Miracles would call forgiveness, and heal like the error in my mind that thinks it's out there, that it's like that circumstance, that event, that person, they're the ones who caused me to feel this way. And it's just absolutely not true. It's absolutely not true. And if you've ever watched near-death experience like videos, or there's a book that I'm going to recommend. It's called The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. I'll talk about that another time. Yet, like these descriptions of like the afterlife that we think were these bodies, but like this bliss that happens afterwards, right? And, we're removed from the heaviness of our bodies. And we start like looking at like our life and the events and realize like all was well, all is good, right? So imagine, this is the question, imagine having that trust and that faith and that knowing and that bliss without having to leave the body. I mean, you look at like the spiritual ascended masters throughout time. I mean, that's what they were teaching, is like, you are God, you are love, all these other things you think are keeping you from that. And it's not true. You're buying into that dream. Okay. So the Onement is going to bring you back to your truth. And when you go through your day with no fear and coming only from love, then all these, like, you don't need anything to happen a certain way, because you're coming from your source. You're coming from your truth and who you really are. You've heard that term. Who are you really? You're just complete love. You're complete joy, abundance, bliss. Any like wonderfully imaginative word that you can think of and get your mind on, that's what you are. And as you start, unraveling and uncovering and dissolving the layers that don't seem like that, like your heart starts opening, and then you come from that like truth, that reality, and you bring that to the world, and you're not needing certain things to happen. Whatever the experience in that now, which is all that is real, is what is like just the expression of your truth. So we're going to be talking much more about this. I wanted to do this vlog today with just understanding like oneness is joy. And if you're not experiencing joy, like you're not in your oneness, you're not connected, you're not being who you really are, you're not in truth. And that's the first step, is just understanding like, am I feeling really good in this moment? Am I not needing anything? Can I smile or laugh at like some of the things that are happening in the world? I mean, the world right now, if you pay attention to the news, and I kind of gander here and there, just, but holy smokes, like to me, in my perceptions where I'm at, it comes across as insanity, like in so many different ways. If you just look at like how everybody's like fighting for this or fighting for that, and I'm right and you're wrong, and like the laws that come from that, and like how people will oppress other people in the name of like their health, in the name of like what they think is right, for their kids, for their sexual identity. Like it's a long list, and it's just like this massive judgment, these attack thoughts, because the world doesn't understand who they are, that they're not a body, that they are one, that they are connected to God. You transfer or substitute that with the word love, and that you can come from that. And that's, I'm not going to start naming names. One of them for me, of course, the miracles, like Jesus, like in with this physical flesh, that's what he saw. He saw truth everywhere. Like he didn't judge people because he knew they were God, right? And how can you know other people are God? Because you know your God, you know your love, you know your truth, and you don't need to like need anything from anybody else or judge them or attack them, because you know the truth. And that's where we're going. Okay. So I will be sharing a lot more, how-tos. I'm dedicated to this. This is my calling. This is my purpose. I felt creatively guided to design some T-shirts. So this is one of them. You and I are one, right? I'll have a description at the bottom of this. come on this journey with me daily. Like, let's refresh and reconnect and like remember who we are and do this journey together. Leave a comment. Like, what are you struggling with? What's hard for you? What do you not understand? Like, share this with the people. I want to be on this journey with you. I want to like connect, and that we get to like combine our minds that feel separated right now, but like technology is one of these great ways that we all get to like come together. So, okay, I will be talking to you again soon. We do this every few days. Just kind of depends on like how life happens. I'm not holding myself to any, but usually about 2 to 3 times a week. Love for you to like this. Love for you to subscribe and share this and comment. Please, what's a question? What do you think? What's your idea of oneness? All right. Talk to you soon, my friend. Thank you so much.